My name's Colette Walker. I'm Vice President of KCL Pole Society. And I've been doing pole fitness for long enough to realize that there are a lot of people who don't entirely understand the sport. Now, this is different from pole dancing that you might see in a strippers club. But I've gone around, asked a few people who don't do aerial fitness what kind of questions they have. And so the first one is pole fitness exercise? The obvious answer is yes. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of training to be able to perform advanced moves and to dance and compete with pole fitness. So you're training muscular strength, muscular endurance, aerobic fitness, as well as flexibility and grace and all of the flow of normal dance. So it's kind of like mixing gymnastics with dancing. Another question I've had, which seems to be the most popular one, is how do you spin on the pole? This includes how do you spin without hurting your hands or hurting your body, and how do you spin so fast, how do you stay on the pole when you're spinning, and there are a couple different answers to this. So let me first say that the pole doesn't always stay still. Sometimes you can change the setting of the pole so that this pole itself will spin and rotate on the axis. Sometimes you can have a pole like hanging from the air so that it will swing and spin and do whatever because it's just hanging from a piece of rope, essentially. But if you're on a static pole, which is attached to the ceiling and the floor and it's not moving, you can spin around the pole by just holding and controlling your grip. So it's very important that you do control your grip when you're doing spins, because otherwise, if you hold on too tight, your wrist will wrap around the pole and then you do get burns on your wrists. But this is bad technique and something most people stop doing after the first few classes. There's also when you put the pole on a spinning pole, so when you change it at the bottom so the pole itself will spin, you can spin on the pole without having to change your grip because your body is just staying still. But this takes a lot of strength and a lot of practice, and it makes you really, really crazy dizzy and sick the first time you do it. It's definitely not a beginner's thing. It's an advanced form of pole, and it takes a lot of control because you need to position yourself on the pole, hold yourself up, and kick off, but not too fast. So if you kick too fast, as you would on a static pole, you end up not being able to control anything, and you're more likely to just kind of let go and drop, which no one wants because that's going to hurt you. And when you are on a spinning pole though, it's also important to control what kind of shapes you're making, because basic physics, the bigger shape you are, the more air resistance you're going to get and the slower you'll spin. The smaller shape you are, the less air resistance and the faster you'll go. So the next thing is, what type of music do you perform to? Or can you perform to? Personally, I've done performances and competitions ranging from indie rock alt-J to Hamilton rap. So you can do anything. I have seen people do performances with classical music, with hip hop, with the general Ariana Grande pop, and with some really, really sultry songs. So you can do a routine to absolutely any type of music you want. To be honest, it doesn't even need to have music. Like if you want to do a routine, say to a monologue, you can do that as well. There's so much variety and diversity in performing pole fitness and in competitions. And finally, what seems to be the most common question is, why do you wear heels? Let's just start with, they're absolutely gorgeous. And once you get used to wearing them, they actually aren't that painful or uncomfortable. Like, it's no different from wearing normal shoes. And it's not actually that hard to balance because you're holding onto the pole or you're on the floor and you're never kind of standing by yourself and dancing without holding onto anything. So balance isn't that much of an issue. Not to say it doesn't take practice. But heels are very important because they not only give us the extra height when we start doing a routine, which means we can much more easily invert and reach the top of the pole and climb and be high up without as much effort, which is especially important for maybe shorter girls who might take them like 5 or 6 climbs to get to the top of the pole. That being said, that would be a very tall pole, probably 3-4 climbs to get to the top of the pole, where if you had a tall girl, she might only need like 1 or 2 climbs. So heels are really good for helping you get that kickstart in your performance at a higher height so you can perform more advanced tricks without worrying about hitting the floor. They're also really good for spins. Again, be it static pole or spinning pole, when you kick off with heels, it gives you extra weight in your feet, which helps the movement going and it helps you spin faster with less effort. And finally, heels let you do more advanced tricks and performances and floor work that you can't necessarily do without them, because heels have, say, that much at least, that would be maybe 6 inches heels, would have that much underneath your toes of plastic. And so you can very easily roll onto that and essentially be on point like a ballerina without as much strength as the ballerina. And it's much easier to balance because you've got that extra surface area. And that's it for now.